My name is Ryan McKenzie, and I beat the often path by measuring the success of our business based on the amount of plastic we reduce from landfills.
Welcome back to the Beat the Often Path podcast or show or whatever this is, the show where I showcase unusual success stories, typically with an earth-forward slant, to help us make more of the tiny amount of time that we have on this planet. My guest today is Ryan McKenzie, co-founder of Tru Earth, a company that's reimagined laundry detergent, coming up with a vastly smarter and more sustainable solution. Now, laundry. Yes! Nothing gets our algorithmic overlords happy like the mention of laundry, so before you panic hit that back button, let's figure out why you should give a shit about laundry.
Why should you give a shit?
Well, let's start with the water. Do you know how many resources are wasted on just shipping water around the world? Water and soda, water and products, water and laundry detergent, you name it. Any company that reduces the amount of water we're schlepping around is doing the planet a major service. But what about what's in laundry detergents? Charlie Ross, great name, writes, laundry detergents contain APEs that damage the immune system and act as hormone disruptors. Enzymes, bleaches, perfumes, and colorants used in chemical detergents are absorbed into our bodies when they come into contact with our skin. Some of these toxic chemicals have been linked to cancer, allergies, and birth defects. Yuck! And this says nothing of internet idiots who've been eating Tide Pods, contributing to 72,947 calls to poison control in the US alone in 2017. But of course, they weren't all TikTokers. Many kids younger than 6 accidentally consume the stuff, which just highlights how important it is to make better laundry detergent. Well, my guest today did just that, creating a multi-million-dollar startup around sustainable and less harmful laundry strips that cut down on shipping and everything else that's bad. It's the story of how someone found personal wealth and fulfillment while making the world a better place for us all. Exactly the kind of story that I love and feature on this show. So here's Ryan McKenzie, co-founder of Tru Earth. First of all, thank you for joining me on the show. I really appreciate you being here. I have looked at your website and I love how your idea for your company was started because I can relate to it so much. So you were sitting there watching YouTube Kids with your 4-year-old child. That's where it all began. And you noticed them essentially celebrating the use of plastic.
Yeah, like it's funny. These kids are so addicted to watching these shows of kids opening toys, and I see it in my own kids, or less now that they're getting a bit older, but before it would be like those little dopamine toys that they open up and they get a surprise toy every time. And there'd be the plastic from the toy, the plastic from the packaging, and then the toy itself was plastic. And after they opened it and played with it for 30 seconds, they didn't care about it anymore. And when we were watching the show, they were opening like this treasure chest, and it was just like this huge treasure chest, and it had like 20 or 30 of those dopamine bomb toys inside that were all wrapped in plastic. The treasure chest is wrapped in plastic. The treasure chest was made of plastic. All the toys, and by the time they finished opening them all, there was this heaping pile of plastic. And for months, I had been going through this new parent anxiety phase where I was worried about the future for them. And it wasn't something that I really experienced like when I was just a guy living in the world, like I'm okay taking care of myself. But when you got little people, you don't know how they're going to be able to fend. And some of the stuff that I heard like Elon Musk talking about robots in the future and climate change and is there going to be enough food for people? And it was just like, I was like really stressed about what the future. And we had this opportunity presented to us, the laundry strip specifically, probably a year earlier. And we had kind of kicked it down the road and, does that even really work? How do you go against the big boys, the big companies in the industry? Like it was primarily dominated by a few companies. And I just didn't think that it would be possible, and kind of had this like aha moment that this is something that I could use to not only cope with my anxiety, but also make the world potentially a better place, or create a tool that could give people an opportunity to make one better choice that will lead to less plastic, which in turn should lead to reduced climate change, reduced, pollution, and a number of other things.
And you teamed up with a business partner who explain how that idea came about exactly.
Okay, so there's actually 3 of us, and we had been in business in the past together. So we used to be in the human-propelled outdoor adventure space. So we'd build some subscription products there, and then we had helped a couple other media companies that were struggling also build some subscription alternatives outside of just their magazines to help keep their business afloat. And Brad has like a extended family member who had invested in this patent, and they were just at like a dinner party. This is like pre-COVID when you could still have, I guess you can probably have dinner parties again now, but maybe not quite to the same extent. But anyways, they were at dinner parties, and he kept bringing it up. He's like, you guys are so good with these subscription products. You guys should really look at like this Dollar Shave Club type business model for this product. And like I said, we kind of were like, I don't know, when it was presented, like it wasn't presented physically with the product. It was just like talked about. I didn't think this little strip would be able to physically clean my clothes. But so around that time that I was watching that particular YouTube show, I started looking at the stats on plastic waste just from like laundry detergent. And there's about 1 billion jugs purchased in North America every year. And at the absolute best end of the stats that I can find is about 30% are recycled in any capacity. So about 10% are actually physically repurposed into a new stuff. So I was like, wow, that means 700 million jugs every year are ending up in landfills. I'm like, wow, that's a really big opportunity to address, right? Like, so to me, I'm like, okay, well, this is a problem that I could feel good about, working on. So Brad and I talked about it. We got some samples in. And we tried it, and my wife tried it, and his wife tried it, and Kevin tried it, and Kevin's wife tried it. And we're like, well, this actually works pretty good. Like, I'm blown away. So we're like, okay, we'll give this a shot. We'll see if we can sell 150 packages in the first month. Then I think that we're onto something. And we had over 1,500 people subscribe in the very first month. So we're like, that's probably a pretty good sign. And fast forward now, I think we're close to 600,000 customers 2.5 years later, and pushing like 160,000 active subscribers receiving the product in some capacity.
So an almost immediate success.
There's been so many things that have happened along the way that have kind of limited our ability to really experience kind of what it feels like. Because first it was COVID, and I mean COVID's here. There's still all sorts of rules here in Vancouver, but it's finally getting to a point where we can kind of realize it. But also that speed of growth is pretty stressful. There's systems are constantly breaking. But I mean, I've been involved with a lot of other businesses in the past, and I don't know, I'm sure other entrepreneurs have probably noticed similar things, but like when you start to get overwhelmed and it's just about the money, it's really easy to say, what am I doing this for? But when you start getting overwhelmed and you have like a purpose, and like for me, it's like the future of my children, and like, reducing plastic and potentially helping a small cog in reducing climate change. Like, it's pretty hard to quit on that. It's funny because people start getting into entrepreneurial lifestyles typically for the idea of like this dream lifestyle and everything like that. And like right now, this is like kind of the polar opposite. It's like nonstop, go.
Stress.
But it's a lot easier to accept this period of mental anguish or torture or whatever you want to call it in exchange for what we're doing and what we're working on and the impact that we could potentially have on the future. So I kind of got off on a tangent there, but yeah, that's how it started. And
so you had access to this patent, you pooled your resources. What did you do in the first 30 days? What did that look like attempting this?
Yeah, so we built a website. We put that up. Kevin built the framework for everything, put it up. When we first launched, we only had a subscription, and it was only monthly, which was a horrible idea. If anybody's starting a subscription business, make sure you let people choose how often they get the product. But we launched that, and we started with we did Facebook ads. I think near the end of the first month, we started rolling out some Google ads. We started seeing success with the Facebook ads like on day 2. Day 1, nothing. The first customer that we ever had, I used to, when I was having a downtime in my entrepreneurial journey, I had to go do sales at a cell phone store, Bell, here in Canada. I texted one of the girls that I used to work with, and I'm like, hey, check out this new thing that we put out. And I didn't like tell her to buy it or anything like that. And she was our first customer. So pretty cool that somebody I know that I didn't actually solicit to buy it was our first customer. But between the Facebook ads, the Google ads, the other thing that we did is we had the product put in a subscription box with, I think, around 4,000 subscribers. And Basically, that was it. That was the catalyst. The fact that the product was rather novel and different than what people were used to seeing, I think it created a lot of curiosity. There was a couple things that were probably going in our favor that month. It was April 2019. So Greta Thunberg was very visible at the time. There was a lot of discussion around climate change and whatnot. That's one thing. And then the second thing was Earth Day falls in April. So in terms of like launching environmental products, April is a fantastic month because there's a lot of noise, a lot of people talking about that type of thing during that period. So we had a lot of success on our Earth Day promotion as well.
Oh, not again. Hey there, Timmy. What the hell do you want this time?
I want to talk to you about trucks.
Fine, Timmy. Well, what about them?
What do trucks do?
Trucks ship a lot of things, but chief among them is water. So many things you buy, Timmy, contain water, like shampoo, soda, actual water, bottled water, and half the crap you see in a grocery store.
But I don't understand. Doesn't every home already have water? Why do we need to ship water around so much?
Oh, Timmy, you really are a pesky brat, aren't you? I've said it before, I'll say it again. We've always done things this way, so we will always continue to do things this way. End of story.
You're no fun.
So you talk about overdosing in laundry as if these things are accidents, but the truth is they've been caused by people trying to sell more of their traditional products, right? We want you to overdose because then you buy more. We want you to have all of these expensive things because it benefits our bottom line. Do you feel that kind of deliberate, I don't want to say ignorance, but willful harming of the planet? Do you see that as you're going up against some of these big competitors?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they probably said like let's overdose the product intentionally so that we damage the planet. I don't think that anybody's that malicious. I think that there's a possibility that there's an extra line there because no harm, no foul. Somebody uses more laundry detergent. Maybe their clothes get clean, maybe cleaner, maybe they don't, right? Like it's probably easy to turn a blind eye. I don't know. I think like maybe some of it's done intentionally to generate additional revenue, sell more units. But maybe I'm being rationally optimistic here that I don't think that they're doing it because they want to put more jugs in landfills. I don't think that the people that run those businesses are necessarily evil. I think that they're trying to drive additional revenue and I don't know. I don't want to point fingers at people. It's not really my jam.
To be clear, I'm not suggesting that they're trying to harm the planet actively, but I think in the pursuit of perpetual growth, which every business is in business for, if you're looking for growth at all costs, it's not that you're necessarily saying I want to fill up the landfills. You're saying I want my numbers to go up every quarter. And that's just a consequence. But how do you get your numbers to go up? Obviously, getting people to buy more is one easy way, over all of these things. So that's more of what I'm saying, just to put a little asterisk on my previous comments.
I've read other stuff too, like from like chocolate bar companies where they like slowly remove like ingredients and that are expensive, and they don't see like a big drop in sales immediately. But then when you take like iteration 2006 and you eliminate certain ingredients up to 2016 and you compare the two products, like there's the new one's disgusting in comparison to the old one, but there's been this really small gradual decline in customers between those two kind of like cohorts. And it's kind of like this is kind of the same thing, but instead of like selling more, it's like reducing what you're giving, or like the size of a McChicken sandwich at McDonald's has gotten progressively smaller over time, right? Like you either reduce what you give or you suggest that they take more, right?
Yep, I completely agree. And there's that Cadbury egg fiasco where somebody stacked them up, they collected them, and it shrunk by 33% over a period of so many years. More packaging, more product sales, higher price. So we see this trend, I think, in a lot of places, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it's to deal with inflation, and some of it's, like you said, try to shareholder value at all costs.
Yeah. So now that you're in an eco business, do you feel compelled to make other parts of the business more eco-friendly? Are you thinking about this across the board? Like, fair employee compensation? Are you trying to build your business in a different way in addition to just the product you sell?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we're trying to do. Like we donate a lot of product. So for every package every subscription that's started, we donate 32 loads to people in need around North America, and we sent some to Ghana for new moms and stuff too. But so we've donated at this point more than 10 million loads, which is like, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like $2.5 million worth of laundry detergent since we started doing that in March of 2020, just around COVID. Looking at other things like even how you ship product. Like one thing that we've done is that like when we ship our product, we actually use the package as a shipper. It depends where it's being shipped from. If it's in the U.S., I don't think it actually works that way. But in Canada, we literally print the label on the package, and we reduce some logistical waste. We're looking at other things like when you ship pallets of stuff, they have to be wrapped. So we've been investigating different products that help eliminate some of the waste. The HR side of things, we've got a lot of interesting programs going on internally here, like equality courses and inclusion courses, and we do a lot of really really cool internal stuff to try to be it's 2021. We're trying to be extremely respectful of people's choices and try to support them. And there's a lot of little things. I mean, I'm not tied to the day-to-day on the HR side of things, but I see like some of the macro stuff that's going on. And it's pretty cool. The people that do work here are they're ambassadors of the brand. And we're actually I think we're the single largest private employer in the city that we're in.
What's your next goal? What would you like to see in the next year, the next 5 years, if everything went perfectly?
Yeah, it's funny. Like everybody's always so like big on these 5-year goals, and
you don't have to answer if it's a stupid question.
No, it's not a stupid question. It's actually something like I've been like contemplating for myself because I've never really been like the goals, the short-term goals that I do put out for myself. I almost always hit them, but I'm not a habitual like. What am I doing in the next year? But as a company, we would definitely want to produce more tools for people to use that give them the opportunity to make little changes. And because our whole philosophy is little hinges swing big doors, and a lot of little changes lead up to really big impact. So our goal as a company is to give consumers the ability to, or kind of be a conduit for them to make little changes, make one easy place that they can go and make these small changes. And if we can get 7 billion people to all start making little changes, we're going to be a heck of a lot better than if we had, 1 billion people being perfect.
At RP Corporation Global, we love water. That's why we ship it around the world. Water is heavy. It takes up a lot of space, and it's something you already have in your home. Not only do we ship you water, we also package that water in single-use plastic, harming the world not once, but several times. At RP Corporation Global, we harm the planet because we love you. And money.
RP Corporation Global would like to assure its shareholders that it absolutely loves money more than you.
And, how old were you when lightning finally struck, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I'm 40 now.
Okay.
But I've been Kevin and I, who's one of my Kevin and Brad are my business partners, but we've been friends since kindergarten, and we've done lemonade stands and all things along the way. And
we've had a lemonade stand.
Oh yeah, always lemonade stand, Kool-Aid too. But we had a little bit of success when we were in our 20s, but I would say that it was in a vacuum, and that fell apart. And then we'd have a little bit of success, and honestly, it's people think that it's overnight success, but this is overnight success 20 years in the making. So this is the first business that I've ever been a part of that got to the eight figures in revenue. And I cracked the seven. I've gotten to a couple of multi-million-dollar projects, but for a lot of times that $1 million a year in revenue doesn't really, like when you have employees, it doesn't stretch very far. Oh. So this is the first time where we're actually, I don't know. I don't want to say being successful, but like it took 20 years, man. It took 20 years.
20 years. Yep. So is there hope for the TikTok generation, or if you're not a young celebrity, your life is over?
I don't know. My kids are all into being YouTube stars, or which we're trying to keep at bay. But I don't know. I mean, I think I'm more concerned about like the future of the children socially, and growing up in this environment to me is scary. It's unknown. But I mean, some of these kids on TikTok, like those island boys, man, I was sitting there, like, those guys with like the corn.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, Florida, I've been exposed to that piece of human garbage. It's terrible.
It's terrible. But like, I last night it like popped up. I like looked at TikTok and it like popped on my feed, and I'm like, I'm gonna go see what else these guys are doing. And like, I watched it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, I can't believe I just got sucked into this.
You're right.
And it's like so bad that it's good, but it's not even good. It's just like, I don't know. But
it's painful. It's a car
yeah,
crash.
I guess that does scare me, because it's like how extreme are people willing to go to get attention? Because attention's a commodity now, and it's very difficult to both acquire and hold. And like, these guys have like tattooed their I don't think they're older than 18 or 19. They've like tattooed their whole face, their whole body, and I don't know about the hair, but like, that's an extreme commitment. Like, I mean, just for that much, I just don't want to see kids do these kinds of things to themselves for no results. And I hope that's not what this world comes to.
Right. And in my neighborhood, that means stacking 10 trampolines on top of each other for a YouTube video. I mean, just insanely dangerous things. One of the YouTube stars, he swings his friend around by his ankle with an excavator. They put David Dobrik, an excavator they put in a body of water somewhere, swinging him around. Oh, the excavator stops. He smashes into the thing, crushes his whole face, almost paralyzed. Like, oh, got a lot of views. And then what happens later? Forced apology. Oh, hey, sorry, guys. Like, are you really sorry, though? That went almost exactly as you intended it to go. He just got injured. Every part of it was a bad idea, but we're rewarding that across the board.
Evolution. It's like the evolution of Jackass.
Yeah, right. Everybody's in Jackass. Nobody read the warning because, again, that warning in MTV said, hey, don't try this. But there was another kind of message, which is, but these guys became millionaires by trying it.
Yeah.
Don't do this, but they're celebrities.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And they've got another Jackass coming out. They're still celebrities.
And I still kind of want to see it, even though I know. That's the worst part. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And you're still going to flip through TikTok and you're still going to say, well, what are those island boys up to?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's, I am participating in perpetuating that behavior. And
we all are.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of, there's all sorts of like layers of like moral onion you can pull back. And like, I mean, if you really want to get self-judgmental and figure out what things that you're maybe not doing perfectly, but again, nobody's perfect. You can't expect yourself to be perfect. You have to you have to choose your battles. It's about winning the war and not winning the, I don't know. That's probably really terrible. I probably botched that, but you know what I mean.
Good enough. Well, we've reached the end of our brief period of time here. I'd like to give you the floor to, I want to be very respectful of your time here. We've reached the end of our hour. And I'd like to give you the floor. Where can people follow you? Where can they subscribe? Just anything you want to promote, floor is yours.
Cool. So yeah, you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn. And those are the two places you can find me. I just want to, thank you for taking the time for having me on the show, Ross. It was really cool to hang out.
Very cool. Pleasure was all mine. I am in awe of what you've been able to achieve. I think it's really remarkable. I'm glad that the mission has taken over from all of the pain points and problems. I'm glad that you're able to focus on something bigger than just money, which I think many more people need to do. And that's basically the premise of this whole show, is trying to get people to think a little bit broader in how they spend their finite time, to your point earlier. So thank
so much
you
more fulfilling.
very much. Yeah, exactly. You have a reason to get up, and it's not just likes and followers. So anyways, with that, the official podcast is over. Isn't that the most amazing thing about stories like this? They make you feel like it's so easy. Sometimes in life, we feel that everything is so hard, so complicated, so difficult. But there's a reminder that we're all just a few steps away from unlocking something just like this. If we just get the right idea with the right people at the right time, we truly can start making an impact pretty quickly. So this really gives me a lot of inspiration and hope, and it's also very sobering, you know, as somebody who's put in so much time into something like this podcast and not seeing it grow incredibly much. It's sobering to see that, hey, maybe we should be investing our time in something that is more valuable. So it's a lot of takeaways. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, and maybe you are going to be asking questions about your own life. In either case, thank you for listening. I really appreciate you being here and for supporting the show. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, rate it 5 stars, share this episode. I'd really appreciate it. So thank you for listening to the Beat the Often Path podcast, and I will see you next week.